Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Happy Tuesday. It's the REKAP Lunch Hour with Guff, Ryan McGuffey here on the REKAP. I have a lot of thoughts on my mind today as we get going with what is crazy to say, beautiful day in the Chicago area. And Chicago makes you feel like baseball is around the corner. And you know what? It is. Just 2 weeks away. The Cubs spring training trucks left for Mesa today, like 2 hours ago. The White Sox did a week or so ago. And the funny part is that the Cubs report first to spring training. So a lot going on. I want to discuss this topic about Ben Johnson, why he is a better choice than ever for the Chicago Bears. Would love your thoughts. My God, after seeing that Liam Coen press conference yesterday in Jacksonville, it made me think, man, I know winning the press conference in reality is not all that important, and that we might overreact to it more than any city in America. Certainly because we are so hopeful that things are going to change with any team that we have, whether it's the Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Bulls. Everybody's fired their head coach in the last 15 months except the Chicago Bulls, and we're all looking for hope. And then Ben Johnson gets up there and absolutely crushes the press conference. Absolutely crushes. And then you have Liam Coen up there going, Duval. So creepy, kind of weird. Gave it some weird eyes. And then he had a Matt Eberflus-like acronym about playing fast. And of course, it doesn't even stand for the word fast because he's giving you 2 and 3 word responses for each initial. I mean, that looks like a flippin' disaster down in Jacksonville. And so it made me think, holy crap, maybe, just maybe, they got it right. Maybe the Bears, and again, we are just talking about winning a press conference here. I mean, Nick Sirianni did not win any press conferences when he took the podium for Philadelphia. It looked like, oh, God, what did they do? And the dude's been in the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years. Now, he seems like an odd duck, and I'm not sure like how many times or how many teams are lining up for Nick Sirianni if he were made available today. I don't know. I actually don't know. It's a really good argument. Alan, you said yes, they sure did. And that's what I'm like when you see some of these other, now Pete Carroll in Las Vegas yesterday looked great because I thought what Pete Carroll brings is stability. Pete Carroll brings stability and confidence, and like he's been there before, culture. But I'm telling you what, these other new first-time guys, they don't know. And the other thing about Ben Johnson that I loved was he was completely unscripted. And you got a guy up there, even like the video, I'm going to pull some of this stuff up, man. Even the video of him like seeing his office for the first time, that felt scripted too. Like, oh man, oh God, this is cool. My dad would love this. It was weird. Clyde says Ben Johnson's the best choice for the fact he understood that the offensive line needs to be better for better run and pass game. I mean, that's going into the details of it, Clyde, for sure. I'm just talking about how the dude handled himself. Just the idea that he can compose himself and knows how to, that he appears to run a football organization, or that he at least knows what he's doing. Eric, in your honest opinion, I know it's still early, but do you think the Bears will make the playoffs this year? Oh God. Eric, it's so hard to answer that question not knowing what the roster looks like. Like, so right now, answering your question with that same offensive line, no. Now, do I think that a coach could be worth 4 or 5 wins? I do. So let's say that he is. Let's say he's worth 4 wins, Ben Johnson. The Bears are 8-9. Okay. I'm sorry, 9-8. The Bears are 9-8. Maybe they sneak in. I don't know with this current roster if I can say yes. Dan, you think 9 wins. So we're both agreeing that, yes, the Bears could win 4 or 5 more games. I don't know if I could say playoff team yet, Eric. The real Phil Simms. What's the status? Oh, here we go. Baseball. I'm going to get to Broski, who just poured in with a comment. We got a lot of baseball comments here because you know what I asked earlier? I said this. Are we disappointed with the Cubs and White Sox offseason? It's the Cubs truck left for spring training today. So let's get to your comment, Phil, since I put it up there. I don't think Alex Bregman's going to the Cubs. I think the Cubs will maybe add another reliever, maybe a starting pitcher. Phil says they better be serious about being World Series contenders. Don't be talking and saying nothing. I think they're serious about getting into the playoffs. And from there, kind of seeing what happens, Phil. Get to some of these other comments in a minute. Broski, seeing some of these terrible head coach hirings by other teams reminds me of when the Bears hired Eberflush. By the way, shout out Eberflush for landing the DC job. Yeah, Eberflush is a good coordinator. That's a good hire by Dallas. It is. Their defense was a mess last year. Good hire. Couldn't agree more, Broski. You got, what's his name up there? Liam Coen. Liam Coen looked like Matt Eberflush yesterday. It was weird, man. Like, if I were a player sitting in that audience, if I were Trevor Lawrence, I'd be like, oh, shit. Here we go. I mean, from Doug Peterson to Liam Coen. Now, again, you can lose a press conference and be a great coach. Maybe that's not his strength. The whole situation was a mess. What up, Jess? Coaching is almost set in Chicago. I'm starting to look downfield and focus on the combine. Look, Jess, I want Jess on the show, man. Look at her. She's zoning in, like doing Senior Bowl film review. Coach is only a piece of the puzzle. Lots of other pieces need to be in place. Jess, you're going to be our combine expert, I think. I think you're going to be our combine expert. Phil, I don't think you have significant roster overhaul because Ben Johnson said he loved the talent that was here. I think you're going to have offense and defensive line overhaul. You might have maybe, like, I don't think Keenan Allen's back, so maybe there's receiver depth. Maybe there's another veteran. I don't know. Probably a safety in the mix, depending on the future of Jaquan Brisker. And I don't know, your linebacking play wasn't all that great. Eric Munt chiming in. I just talked to your brother right before the show. And happy birthday, my friend. How about that for knowing that? Eric Munt, celebrating his birthday here on the REKAP Lunch Hour. Good to see you, brother. They could have won 4 more games this year had it not been for coaching. So, yeah. So, Eric, if we're going to say that the Bears, like Ben Johnson's worth 4 wins, well, Matt Eberflus cost them 4. We know the Hail Mary. We know the debacle on Thanksgiving. I would say the Seattle 6-3 game. I can't say that I can blame him for a blocked field goal. I can't say that I could blame him for losing to the Vikings in overtime when they were down 2 touchdowns. So, yeah. Duval. Weird. Like, that guy's a head coach. Lip ripper, 100%. I'm telling you. Like, did you see the video when he, like, found his, like, it's like almost like he fooled people and was like, holy shit, I got the job. He's like, look at this office and look at this. This is cool. I would love to eat my words. I have a feeling I'm not. There's a lot of Cubs comments pouring in here. We will get to them in a second. Why do the Bears always get these hard schedules? Okay, first off, they have a last place schedule, but you always rotate which division you play. I think next year they play the AFC North, if I'm not mistaken. So, and it's impossible. Like, think about if you're playing the Commanders. Here, Bears schedule. Bears opponents. Let me pull those up real quick. All right, so here's the Bears opponents. And it is hard today. But you got to remember, we don't know what these, like, no one thought the Commanders were a hard game this year. So, look, the Bears have the Cowboys. Good. That'll be fun, by the way. At Soldier Field, Matt Eberflus comes back. So you got your 3 division opponents. I think the Packers can be had. The Giants right now are a mess. Let's see what they do. Those are 2 guys playing for their jobs in terms of the GM and coach. The Browns are terrible. The Steelers at home, the Saints at home, like I those are winnable games to me. Eagles obviously tough. Commanders look like they're tough. Ravens are tough. Bengals are tough. 49ers probably tough. And the Raiders, but in Vegas, I'd say they're tough because of who their coach is now. Josh Eberflush was better. Yeah, he'll be fine there. Pablo Presser didn't win everything. But if I'm the new head coach anywhere, it's important to nail down every step. Don't care if it's a handshake. Every step from January until you hold the Lombardi. Pablo, you're on my staff, pal. You know how I feel about that. Khalil Mack, interesting take here, Eric. Could you bring him back? You the man too, my man. Happy birthday. Enjoy your day with fam. Eberflus, Christian says, was a joke. Do I want Tyreek Hill? Yes, but at what expense? He's not it's like all you guys saying draft Ashton Gent. Like, I don't know about drafting Genty at 10. Why would you do that? Your biggest need is guys who can move dudes. There were awkward moments from Liam Coen. Not thrilled with the O-line coaching candidates the Bears have interviewed so far. We need an O-line coach who has at least coached O-line in the NFL. I think we need a guy who knows what he's doing at that position. Although it sounds like I saw something that they may be removing on a guy from Tulane that was in the NFL and is known to be a offensive line wizard. Phil Simms thinks that was Adam Gase all over again. Remember Adam Gase? Adam Gase doing one of these. Yeah, weird. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. That's you get the AFC North and the NFC East this year, and obviously the North is a better division. Pablo says winning the pressure doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. Let's remember the Adam Gase. Jess, the Bengals might not be as tough. They need to find money. Yeah, they got some issues. I think their quarterback might be the best in football, but their roster has some major issues. They got to pay Chase. Their tight end's out for the year, like you mentioned. I think T. Higgins is gone. They got some issues on the defensive side, too. Let's get to some of these baseball questions because you guys have a shit ton of Cubs questions. I'm going to tell you right now, yes, would adding Alex Bregman make the Cubs the favorites? I'm gonna pop everyone's bubble in here asking about Alex Bregman. The Cubs are not getting him. And hold the receipt. The Cubs are not getting Alex Bregman. I think he's going back to the Astros. You're not going to want to hear this. They can't afford him. I say BS on that, but they can't afford him. Kurt, are the Cubs done or need more bullpen help? There is a new Cubs recap podcast with Cap and Gordon Whitmire that's out that talks about this exact question. I think the Cubs do add another reliever, but don't get excited here. I don't think they're adding too much after that. Maybe a veteran starting pitcher. Michael King. How many people are you guys printing parade routes for Michael King of the San Diego Padres? No. How about if you're going to trade for somebody from the Padres, you trade for Dylan Cease? How about you do that instead of Michael King? Clyde says the Cubs need a right-hand starting pitcher and a bat. Michael King is a stud. He had a 2.95 ERA. Hey, Cap, welcome to the office. But you have Dylan Cease there too, champ. Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have right now? I'm asking Cap, who just got here.
I'd probably rather have Dylan Cease.
Okay, that's it. Stop. Cubs, he'd rather have Dylan Cease. Okay. Josh, Cubs have been kind of busy lately, last couple of off seasons. I mean, not really. Josh, nothing sexy. Nothing from a team trying to win. Like, you want to talk about busy? Look at the Dodgers. That's busy. Clyde, Matt Shaw will start at third base for the Cubs. You better hope he's damn good. I think he's going to be a stud. Cap has already bought his jersey. But you better make sure you're right. I'd probably sign a veteran third baseman for insurance. I would. So you're investing. Like, if you look at the Cubs right now, if you look at their roster, there's a lot of hope in there. I don't like hope going into a season. Hope means that you're relying on a lot of young guys. It does. It means, so you got Matt Shaw, Pete Crow Armstrong, and please don't tell, like, Michael Bush was a good player last year. Are you sure he's going to take another step? Miguel Cap. Okay. Yes. You got Dansby's been playing injured for 2 years. I mean, you got a lot of young guys, man. A lot of hope. A lot of hope. I don't like hope when I'm trying to say we're winning a World Series. If Cubs sign Bregman, they're the NL Central favorites. You better start planning for them not to, guys, because it's not happening. Swayze, the rotation and bullpen are definitely more important than Bregman. I agree. If they can add a couple of more arms, that will go a long way in taking a very winnable division. I mean, it's important that they got Presley. That was a win. But you guys, I'm telling you, whether you want to hear it or not, they don't have a lot of money left to spend because the owner is telling you they're going to probably they're probably going to leave about $15 million for the deadline. So that puts them around 220 probably on opening day. So they still have a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. Lip Ripper, does Colson Montgomery start the season? And I think you mean in Chicago. I don't know. I think he's got to have a really good spring. But right now, you have a couple of veterans on that. They signed Rojas. I know, again, that's not, you're going to have to look him up because you're going to be like, who the hell's Rojas? I've seen Jorge Polanco as a possible late add for the White Sox. I think they may have room to add one or two more veteran type guys. I think he's got to have if he can add off of his Arizona Fall League, I think he's got a shot. He will be here in 2025. That's a lock. The question is, does he start the season? I think it's 50-50. I really do. Let's see here. Uncle Ted, I know even better. Hitting right-handed pitching in a league with a shift ban is more valuable than ever. Well, they got your lefty bet. You got Kyle Tucker, who's one of the best players in the game. Cap is right here, Edgar. Just take a deep breath. He's here. Trust me. It's called the REKAP Lunch Hour with Guff. Take that. Sean. Sean. Will Jennifer King stay on? Sean, you've been hammering the Jennifer. I think you asked yesterday if Jennifer King, will she stay on staff? I do think she's staying. Sounds like it. Jess, so Steelers, Bengals, Browns are winnable for the Bears. Jess, how are you going to handle? Are you going to be conflicted when the Steelers play the Bears next year? And are you hosting a tailgate for that? Maybe we'll have to come to you. Dan says Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. I think you have a very strong case for that. He was an MVP this year and pretty much every other season. My thoughts on the Ryan Presley trade are that was a win. You traded a low-level minor league player. You got money in return. I think it's 8.5 the Cubs are paying. And he goes back to a place where he's had a lot of success, meaning closer, and he's happier. So let's see. Uncle Ted, imagine the rotation of lefties where lefty pitching is the most valuable post-shift band. Noah Schultz, 6'10", Miyagi, 5'6", and Smith, 6. I think you mean 6'10", 5'6", 6'5". Hagen Smith. I don't think, by the way, I was standing next to Hagen Smith the other day. Didn't feel 6'5" to me. It's thick, though. Maybe 6'3". Maybe I'm crazy. He didn't feel 6. Well, maybe also because Noah Schultz was in the room. And those two dudes are going to be dudes. Uncle Ted's backing Cap up by saying Michael King is better than Cease. You guys, I will take my chances on Cease. Clyde wants to bring Dylan Cease home. I'm a Sox guy. Yeah, you guys wanted Quintana. Good trade. Sean, which vet starters should the Cubs target? I'm thinking Max Scherzer or someone else. I don't hate that. I'm not sure Scherzer looks at the Cubs as a possible World Series destination, but he's always wanted to pitch here. It would be kind of fun to see Max Scherzer at Wrigley. They need some intensity on that dead-ass team. Lip Ripper, if the Cubs need a third baseman, Moncada is there for them. If Jed Hoyer signs Yoan Moncada, he's blind. I'm going to also predict he doesn't. There's no way he signs Yoan Moncada. Why bring on that head case? Because then it's just like everyone in the city is going to be just rolling their eyes. He couldn't even stay on the field in the winter ball. He got injured in winter ball. Minor league deal at best for somebody. Probably Miami or something. A couple more here. Jess, what do we got? A lot of baseball chatter today. Must be the warm weather. Spring training for the Cubs is coming in 2 weeks. I would be surprised if they spend any more big. I think Jess is trying to get her way on the show. She's too smart. She's doing a really good job of making sense. Sean says the whole division has nothing. I'd re-sign Moncada for pennies on the dollar. Okay. Why? Uncle Ted, I want to know why. So the fans can just sit there and just continue to be disappointed and upset. And why would Moncada do that too? If he's going to get pennies on the dollar, there's 29 other teams he can get him for. Phil, Guff saw an article that the Cubs were the reason the Dodgers are spending so much money. How does that make any sense? Send me that article. The Dodgers are spending money because they have $368 million a year from a television contract that's a unicorn. No one else in the history of baseball will ever have a contract like that again. So they're spending money because they can. And they have an ownership that has zero care about going way over the luxury tax. So, but they get so much more money for TV than anybody else. Shockingly, the executive who signed that contract was fired shortly after that, the television executive, because that contract is insane. $8 billion. That's it. In a TV world that's fading fast. Edgar says, how about the 2025 White Sox? They are loaded. Okay, Edgar. All right. I think you're just having fun at my expense on that one. Very conflicted. Going to try to see some games in person, depending on. Okay. You're talking about the Steelers game. You're hosting, by the way. You're hosting a tailgate that day. Although, is that game here? Did I bomb that? I think that game's in Pittsburgh. Nope. It's in Chicago. We'll host the tailgate here. Bill, as I said before, sign Alonso, put Bush at third, get another top starter, stop messing around. Division definitely there for the taking. So Phil just wants to spend another $200 million and it'll all be okay. Yeah, Hagen Smith, 6'3". There you go. Ain't happening. Josh, the Bears, I think Keenan Allen's a goner, in my opinion. Swayze. This is a Sox fan. Well, this is a guy with he's not a Sox fan, but this is a guy speaking truth. All in caps. Hell no on Moncada. I'll take my chances with Matt Shaw. I would say yes. Imagine Lee and Coen saying bear down. Bear down. It'd be so weird and uncomfortable. So weird. Broski, if I could kick anyone's ass, who is it? Who would it be and why? I mean, what are you trying to do to me here, man? I'm not going there. I'd have to think about it, though. Maybe we'll chat about that. Let me think. If anyone, I'm definitely not being roped into this one. Bill, what you're saying is that Ricketts doesn't really want to build the next great Cubs team, asking for a friend or all of Wrigleyville. I'm telling you, he sat right here. He wants to get into the dance. They want to get into the playoffs because unlike football or basketball, you know, the top seeds rarely win. They do. So they know that they just got to get in. Now, that's frustrating because the Dodgers are saying, we aren't just going to get in. We're going to get the best players and just line them up and knock you down. Did you see ESPN yesterday had a piece? They actually split the Dodgers roster in two and built two teams that they thought were good enough to go to the playoffs. That's scary. Mike, probably with the best question of the day. Chicago has baseball teams? I know. That's kind of where we are. How much, here, Amir, how much do the Cubs get per year from TV rights? I think it's around $50 million. Now they own their own station. So the rights fees are that whole mess is different. You got to remember though, the way TV contracts are this. All of you who are watching this right now, my guess is that more than half of you don't have cable, which is probably why you're watching us on YouTube. And because you don't, the Cubs are losing money because the way TV worked in the past and why the Cubs left WGN is because they were making, you want to talk about pennies on the dollar. They were making like $100,000. Actually, it wasn't even $100,000 a game. They were making like $95,000 a game. Then they came to Comcast Sportsnet and had a 15-year deal with Comcast Sportsnet and NBC Sports Chicago. And at one point, they were making over $500,000 and $600,000 a game. That's why they left GN. Everyone was pissed off, but the amount of money the Cubs were getting for their rights fees was insane. But cable subscriptions were at an all-time high. And ever since the last 20 years, they keep going like this at a clip that teams, Xfinity, Comcast, etc., can't keep up with. And it's everyone because it's so expensive. and people aren't watching television anymore. And because of that, teams are having to get more creative on how they distribute their games, which is why Bally's is in a mess. Diamond Sports went in bankruptcy. 11 teams are being produced by Major League Baseball because they're throwing their hands up and saying, I don't know. And there are other people pushing back, like Comcast, like YouTube, like Hulu, going, we're good. So I know it's frustrating, but that's kind of the back of the baseball card too, the cable subscription type stuff. It's a mess. Yeah, Sean, I have Dish Network, can't get Marquee because Dish Network is going, we don't need you, which is why Marquee is telling you, hey, we're available direct to consumer. Watch us for $20 a month. You can watch us here. You can watch us on your laptop, your iPad, whatever. The DTC is a model that teams are trying to play catch up on. The Cubs released theirs. It's actually, from the people who I know who have it, they like it, but it's like paying, it's like another Netflix, except it's just the Cubs. I think it works. And people get mad. Cubs and White Sox stream your games on YouTube. You dummies. Go worldwide, not regional. It's not up to the teams. That's the problem, Ted. A lot of people don't understand. YouTube's giving them the bird. YouTube's going, I don't need you. I got other stuff. We don't want to carry regional sports networks. It costs too much, and we want people to subscribe to us. And you know what? People are going, I can get my teams other ways. It's frustrating. It's just true. Okay? Just a stream. But YouTube is not doing it. That's why teams are going direct to consumer, Uncle Ted. They're doing that because they have no other choice. Get a distribution. All right. That's my education for the day. Okay. Yeah, I'm on YouTube, not YouTube TV. That's the difference, Ted, is that the teams if they just put their games on YouTube, Ted, I'm going to tell you something real quick. If they put your games on YouTube, they make this much money. So yeah, the idea of just logging on YouTube and watching the Cubs like we are right now, great. You know how much money the Cubs are making? Zip. Not 1 cent off YouTube. They'll have ads and stuff like that. They'll be marketing and all the stuff they do in game now. They will not be getting 1 cent for rights fees. That's why they don't do it. And then you guys are going to bitch more about, well, the roster sucks. And now they're cutting payroll. That's because they're not getting any money in return to watch their games. Jess, I heard there was a lot of restructuring going on with Fubo and ESPN. I would renew my subscription with Marquee, but that performance last year did not inspire me. Same with the Sox. And that's kind of where fans are. And now, and this is the sorry, I'm looking at some of these. I'm looking at some of the comments. This is where the fans are not pushing back, Jess. This is a good point. So you have distributors pushing back. You have teams saying, trust us, please give us, we want to be on your, and now you have fans going, you know what? I can pay month to month. I'll wait. It's a show me state, right? It's like, wasn't happy that the Cubs finished 83 and 79 for 2 years in a row. Wasn't happy the White Sox are the worst team in the history of the game. Show me something. Then I'll hop in May or June or July. I have a couple of ideas. I'm not going to give them away for free here on YouTube, though. I'm just waiting for the right exec to sit down and talk to you. How do you think I feel? I got the MLB Network, so I watched the Sox the last 2 seasons. Ugh. Yeah, it's frustrating. And there's going to be more to come, guys, on distribution. And it's very much a point of contention for a lot of people. All right, it's time for the bet of the day as we wrap things up here. Lip Ripper wants to know if Cap has a hoops pick tonight, throwing him on the spot. I have one. I'm going, Lip Ripper, you went 0-2 last night. Oh, we are against each other. Yeah, I'm fading your ass, Lip Ripper. I'm going the other way, man. Here we go with the bet of the day here on the Recap Lunch Hour. All right, so we got kind of screwed last night. I'll tell you why. So I had Westbrook. I had Russell Westbrook over 14.5 points. Couple things. It went off at 13.5. Okay. And as you know, the hook can really get you. With 6 minutes to go in the game, I'm on the phone with Cap, who is dialed in to CHSN, doing play-by-play to me on the phone. I swear to God. And on the phone, Westbrook lays it in or hits a jumper. He gets to 14 points. There's 6:51. I looked at my phone, 6:51 left in the game. I'm like, just get to the line, whatever. With like 2 minutes, and then the Bulls kept scoring in bunch. Obviously, the Bulls had an impressive win. Doesn't really mean much because they're hopefully about to have a big roster purge. There was a tip, kind of almost like a tip dunk opportunity for Westbrook late in the game, and he missed it. And I was like, that's going to come back to bite. And it did. He finished with 14. So because I'm a man of my word, even though I got it at 13.5 when I purchased it later in the day after their lunch hour, I hit it in my bet. I lost it here on the show. I'm counting it as an L. The hook, it brings you back, and it also costs you money. So the hook got us. So Lip Ripper just gave us an overplay for tonight. He likes Kentucky, Tennessee over 145.5, depending on where you shop. I got it at 146. I also, Lip Ripper, to your point, I hate unders. Life's too short to bet the under. I totally understand. Tennessee's the best defensive team in the country. Their defensive rating is number 1 in the country on KenPom. Now, I do understand that Kentucky's the 4th best offense in the country. This line it's a weird line to me. I almost laid the 10.5, but you got 2 of the top 12 programs in the country. It's a rivalry game at Tennessee. I think Tennessee, I think the crowd, I think because it's at home, give me Tennessee's suffocating defense in this one. It might be one of those like 75, 65 games. It's going to be a sweat. I'm going under. So sorry, Lip Ripper. I'm not going to sit there and go over tonight. I'm going to go under. I did a lot of research. My lean was Michigan State. My lean was Sparty, laying 13.5. I hate Minnesota with a passion, especially after that Michigan beat a couple weeks ago. But they've been playing pretty good basketball lately. They've covered 5 out of 6. 13.5 points. That feels like a backdoor disaster to me. I'll stay away. Michigan State at home, though, has been throttling teams. I think their closest game at home has been 13. So part of me saying, don't sleep on Michigan State. I'm not going to give that out as the bet of the day, though. We're going to ride the under, and probably the game of the night, Kentucky, Tennessee, under 146. Great.
Two-team parlay.
Might be a 2-team parlay. Cap's already putting the parlay together. Sparty laying the 13.5.
Neither of those.
Oh, God. Cap's got
Bonaventure at home getting 2 over Dayton, and Pitt on the money line to beat North Carolina.
Pitt on the money line, St. Bonaventure. If you've been following the recap lunch hour, we've laid the Bonnies a couple times. We've backed the Bonnies. They used to be the best team in the country against the spread. But lately, they have been sliding and sliding fast. I don't think Cap understands that. I know he knows that league. Cap pretty much called A-10 games for the better part of, 15 years?
Yep.
15 years. The guy knows the conference better than anybody. Let me give you a little rundown on the Bonnies as of late, Cap. They have not covered in 5 out of 6. They've lost those games outright. They are on a complete downhill slide, losing to St. Louis, LaSalle, Duquesne, George Mason, and absolutely throttled by VCU. Cap's back in Dayton tonight. I'm sorry, he's back in the Bonnies +2 tonight. I'm out. The Bonnies have burned me. Cap likes the Bonnies and Pitt. So there you go, Lip Ripper. You want to? Yeah, Lip Ripper knows. Landon's chiming in. I love background Cap. Lip Ripper, I like Sparty and will always bet the Bonnies, but they've been trash of late. Exactly. All right, guys, we're wrapping things up. Another edition of the Recap Lunch Hour here on the Recap for everyone here at the Recap. I'm Ryan McGuffey. We'll do this again, as always, tomorrow. Have a great day.